I'm 42, single, and have been working for 10 years. I've saved 600,000 yuan and live off the interest. I don't plan to exhaust myself for a woman, and I believe staying unmarried is the biggest trend for the next decade. I'm committed to staying single for life. By not marrying, I'm financially free. I avoid all the major expenses: house, car, wedding gifts, family connections, all of which are high cost without benefiting us men directly. As long as I don't get stuck with car loans, house loans, or the pressure to pass on the family line, my 4,000 yuan monthly salary is more than enough for me. If you get married, you're committing to a life of hard work and debt. My life? Free and easy. Once you marry, you fall into a debt trap you can never escape. Brothers, I'm telling you, choosing not to marry is your biggest blessing and key to happiness. I spend less than 50 yuan a day, and I'm the wealthiest guy in the village when it comes to cash on hand. Staying single means I don't need to try to win over women or lose my head.
I am 60 years old, born and raised in Beijing, and I have been running my air conditioning business for many years. My company was registered in 1998, and I have been steady in this industry ever since. Despite having my own business and financial foundation, I have remained unmarried all these years. This is because I have my own unique views on marriage and some personal experiences. Firstly, I own an apartment in Beijing, located in a prime area within the Second Ring Road. It is very convenient for transportation, with all the necessary living facilities nearby. The apartment is about 60 square meters, a standard 2-bedroom unit. Now that I am retired, I receive a few thousand yuan in pension every month, but I am still single and live a very comfortable life. I am still unmarried. Actually, not getting married does not mean my life is incomplete. It's just that my understanding of marriage is different. Many people often ask me whether I've missed out on many opportunities, wondering why I didn't choose to get married. I don't see it as a missed opportunity. Yes, I might have encountered some good women, but sometimes we can't choose the other person's true values. Some women might find me suitable, but I might not feel the same way. If someone is unwilling to give in a relationship, only wanting to take advantage, then I'd rather not be in such a relationship. Some women see my success and think I can't support them, but what I value in marriage is mutual respect and support, not just economic dependency. Looking back, I have had relationships with a few women, but none of them lasted. There were many complex reasons, one of the biggest being the involvement of economic and material factors. For example, some women from outside Beijing come here hoping to solve housing and household registration issues through marriage. Some even come from large families, hoping to change their situation or even that of their family through marriage. I can't tolerate this kind of situation. They are not interested in building a life with me. They just want me to help their family out financially. These women want to drain a man dry in one go. I find such women very uninteresting. I have met many such women. Perhaps they were poor back home, but after coming to Beijing, they developed a strong elite mentality, thinking that marriage is a resource they can exploit. They believe they can obtain everything through marriage. I think this is impossible. You haven't contributed anything, so why should I support you? Although you may be pretty, men aren't fools. I've met many women who, just by having a meal with me, would ask for anything, almost like they've lost their minds. I feel like these women are completely unrealistic. They're not here for a relationship. They're here to rob me. For me, the most important aspect of marriage is not dependence, but joint effort. In Beijing, resources are abundant, and success and wealth are not easily obtained through marriage. They must be earned through one's own effort. A couple that truly wants to be together should have similar values and be able to face life's challenges together, not just look at what the other person can offer. In summary, I would rather live alone than enter an unequal and unhealthy relationship just for the sake of marriage. I'm not rejecting marriage, but I hope to find a partner who shares similar ideals and values. Only then can we truly spend our lives together, not just use each other. This is my understanding of marriage, and the reason why I haven't married.
Hey man, more brothers, and back again, and just something a little lighter, but more serious. It's not black female fuckery for a change. It's actually something that's a little different, because we're not really talking about women, we're talking about men in this particular video. Like, you just saw two Chinese men, older Chinese men in their 40s that have gone what I call monk. And that is an extreme form of what we used to call MGTOW, men going their own way, back 11, 12 years ago. And there was 4 levels. Everybody knows what the 4 levels are for MGTOW, right? Which is awareness, which is purple pill, or what they call purple pill, which is dating, but no cohabitation, where you're dating one woman, or a serial monogamy where you're dating one woman, but you're not going to have any kids, and you're not going to move in, and you're not going to go through any sanctioned marriage. And there's a lot of guys that have gone the level 1, where the awareness, where they live with a woman, they have one partner, but they're not going to go through any sanctioned marriage. So Donovan Sharp comes to mind as a level 1 MGTOW. The level 3, we said the level 2, no cohabitation, no kids, no marriage. And level 3 was what Coach Greg Adams does, and a few others do, that are MGTOWs, or they don't call themselves MGTOWs anymore. They call them free agents. The free agent lifestyle, as we call it now, which is spinning plates, where you're serial dating, nothing serious. You're still having sex, or to the point where you want to have sex, but you don't expect any serious relationship. Sometimes you fly out, sometimes you trick. You could be a gigolo, where you have everyone pay for you. It's various forms of spinning plates or free agent lifestyle. And the last one is the most serious form, which is what I practice, which is monkhood, which monks don't have romantic relationship with women at all. No, we don't. Sex, if you want it, preferably for somebody like me, I prefer it to either be random or it be even tricking. I don't care if I want sex that badly, but the thing is, the weight of emotional labor that you have to expend to a woman got too heavy. And that's when you go into monkhood, which I don't suggest most guys go into monkhood until they're at least, at the bare minimum, 40. And for most guys to do it comfortably, you have to be over 50. And that's if you've gone through the ringer already. But what we see in China right now is guys that either have gone through it, not even gotten married, or they've dated, maybe they've tried to date. And a lot of guys that have got to 40, sometimes they're virgins, and they've never dated. I doubt that they're virgins. I think they probably, kind of creeped into the side door and put $40 down and had their way and bounced out. I think a lot of guys have done that. They're just not saying it because they can't say it in China. I think that's what they've done, because they have that glow about them that, sex wasn't a problem. It's just I didn't want to get serious with a woman. And I think it's because in China, there's more responsibilities and obligations to go with a woman. You just don't have a woman. You just don't have a woman. We have to have a house, you got to have a lifestyle, you got to have a job, you got to have a dowry that you have to pay to the family, because you're buying her womb. That's an old-fashioned lifestyle. But in this age of divorce, where women are allowed to divorce, I think it's what do they call it? No contest divorce, where you can get divorced for any reason. I think they can do that. I think that's why a lot of guys in China are not willing to risk their fortune, all their hard work, and their family's hard work to get married to a chick that's not worth their while, even though there's a lot of pressure on these guys to get married. There's probably more pressure on these guys to get married than the women. And that has been said, not just from the mothers, but also from the fathers. But it's interesting to see this evolve, because when the men in the United States were doing it 10, 12 years ago. We thought it was just a small, tiny minority who just had planted their flag that we're going to do this. When we're called abnormal, we're called gay, we're called bisexual, all kinds of stuff, right? Hated women, all kinds of stuff. And it was simply a choice. And lo and behold, 12 years hence, it is normalized. Not only do you see it in China, they're probably the most outspoken people that do it, but also you see it here in the United States, especially amongst young men. Young men have gone MGTOW. They're not at the monk stage yet, but they're headed that way. And I think that for the MGTOWs that doubted, that took all kind of grief and derision, 10, 12 years ago, because you were the first ones to plant the flag and say, here we are. And the women's society jumped all over you. Now, especially after COVID, this is normalized. Men have adapted. And men are not being held hostage by female relationships and sex. They're saying no mas. So it's an interesting development. And I think I'm going to follow this. I'm going to follow this Chinese MGTOW because we have the Chinese leftover women, which I might do tomorrow. Another segment of the Chinese quiches and the leftovers, because it's a very interesting thing. It's very interesting because Chinese have a very pragmatic way of doing things, which in the liberal West, we don't quite do it the same way, even though the results are the same. But the Chinese men are extremely pragmatic and extremely logical. And they have brought more evidence and logic to something the manosphere was doing and still doing, even more now than we used to this arena. So that's all I wanted to drop in. I thought it was interesting, so I decided to go ahead and deposit this here and plant a flag, and just like I did last week with the manosphere in politics, right? We're here now. There's nothing to fight over. There's nothing to state. There's no claim to make. We're here now. So now that we're here, what do we do, right? Anyhow, till next time, check you out. Peace.